sure you've already probably told us your story here several times,
Okay.
but we're just gonna try and, out of the chaos and everything, try and make sure we get
Sure.
everything accurately. Lee, L-E-E,
Yes.
and C-A-R-L-S-O-N.
Yes.
And what's your birthday, Lee?
8/16/68.
And your social?
Need that too. 501-96-6633.
And your home address?
1880 Aspen Leaf Place.
And then
Star Draper 84020.
And your home phone number there?
Home number is 523-0339.
523-0339.
Yes.
And your work number?
It's in Utah County. It's 801-705-7925.
And where do you work?
TGN, the Generations Network, used to be myfamily.com.
Okay. It's now called TGN?
Yeah, the Generations Network.
Oh, okay. Are you a computer guy, I guess, huh?
You can tell, yeah. I'm a computer guy, yep. Data warehouse.
Okay. So you're originally from South Dakota. How long have you been here in Utah?
North Dakota.
Or North Dakota, sorry.
Moved here in 1990.
So I've been here for a while.
Yeah, then moved to Chicago for 2 years and then came back.
Cubs fan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big Cubs fan, so.
Sweet.
I've been suffering alongside you for many,
Yeah.
many years.
Yeah, but we lived there for 2 years and there's so many things that I wanted to do, never got to do. And a lot of things I did do, but still it seemed like there was so much left over. And one of the things before I left was go to a Cubs game. It was pretty cool. It's one of those early April ones where the wind was blowing up the lake and it was cool. You know, it was still fun to sit there and watch it.
Oh yeah, we went to, well, a friend that used to work here with me, we went 2002? We made the trip just to go to the Cubs game, so we went and saw two games, and it was in, I think we went in September,
Yeah.
and we did one was a night game, and the next day was a day game, and the night game, it was freezing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cold.
Yeah, I think, it was 2002, it was probably April right as the season opened.
Yeah.
I watched them.
Yeah. So I love the Wrigley Field, the old mystique and the
Yeah.
smell. It smells kind of musty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
cool. All right, well, let's start with the time. You said you got there just before 7 this morning.
Just a few minutes before 7.
Did you look at the clock or?
Yeah. I pulled up. It was clock on the car was probably 57, 58.
Okay.
I'm guessing there's a couple minutes still before 7. Like I said, I was supposed to meet somebody there at 7. So.
Okay.
And I think I know who this guy is. I think we used to work together many years ago, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't know what his car was, what he really looked like. So I thought, I'll wait till for sure for 7 before I go in to make sure that they're there. Don't want to get there early or whatever. So sat in my car. Like I said, as I pulled up, I saw the two guys in the parking lot standing there, and they were talking. I just thought, oh, they're standing there talking, and they're going to go in. Didn't think much of it. Other than them just standing there versus actually walking in. So I pulled up, checked the time, so thought to myself, well, I'll wait a few minutes, and then I heard some loud talking, heard them talking behind my right shoulder. So they probably were, I wrote in the report, probably like 5 o'clock for me, I guess. They were kind of in the back that way. And so I looked back to see what was going on. At that point, I saw the victim. He was backpedaling and he was saying something. He was going, like putting his arms like this, shrugging his shoulders, doing something. And they were kind of loud, and I thought that was kind of weird. They were talking in a weird tone other than just friends. Didn't think anything of it still, and sat there for a minute or so, and then, it probably wasn't even that, but he immediately came, walked in front of my car. The victim made eye contact with me, and now thinking back, he was probably walking in front of my car to say, oh, there's somebody sitting here. You're not going to try anything with somebody sitting there. I don't know. And the other guy came. I saw him. He was much bigger. I'm guessing 6'2", 6'3" in that area. They both appeared to be Eastern European. Actually, I heard the victim talk, and he sounded like he had an accent, like he's from there. the other guy, he said some words, but I couldn't make them out. They weren't audible to me. I just heard some noise come out of his mouth. And at that point, they walked in front of my car. The guy that shot him looked like a light brown tan suede jacket, looked old and beat up, kind of wasn't anything new by any means. Pretty sure it almost looked like faded black jeans, but it was like a black grayish kind that had been worn for a while. And they started talking loud, and then my first thought is, oh, this isn't a friendly conversation. Why is he in front of here? And they had the tone. Again, I couldn't make out any words. I don't know if they were speaking a different language or it was muffled inside the car. I couldn't hear. It wasn't distinct enough. And they actually started pacing in front of the car. The two were kind of walking like this. You could tell it was some kind of confrontation. And one of the thoughts in my mind was, oh, here's something going to happen. And my family and my wife and I just started taking karate like a month ago. I'm like, oh my God, I have to try something now. I just barely know anything. And so I could tell I was getting heated, but I wasn't thinking anything was going to happen at that point. And the guy, I guess I'll try to describe the guy some more. I guess he had a larger nose, larger pointed kind of nose, and his eyes were kind of big and bulgy, which was like the other guy, which is kind of like a Eastern European thing. And I can't say for 100% sure if he had a mustache or not. I mean, I just got a quick look at him as he turned the side of his face, and he was walking once. And then the other guy, I could tell the victim was just by his body language, the other guy was mad at him for something he was basically trying to say. He didn't know, just by his body language, he didn't know what to do, whatever. And that's when the guy pulled out, I don't know where from, I assume his pocket, pulled out, because next thing you know, I saw him do this, and then pulled out a gun with his right hand. It wasn't a revolver, it was didn't have the revolver, it just had the, I don't know what else to call it.
It looked kind of like this,
Yeah,
like
that.
this one?
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
Pulled it out, and at this point I was sitting straight ahead, still watching this, going, oh my gosh, and then the guy that shot him was probably by my left tire, and the other guy was still directly in front of me. I pulled it, because he was standing like this, and kind of pulled out like this, and he shot him. I don't remember if it was the smoke I saw, or a casing or something fly or whatever, but I heard a boom, boom, and then I thought, I'm witnessing him. What if he, sees me witnesses, wants to shoot me? So I got down in my car, and I locked my car where the argument was going on too, to make sure it was locked. That's probably not a valid point or whatever. But then I heard 3 or maybe 4 shots. I'm thinking, because at that point, after the first and second shot, after I died down, I'm thinking, oh my God, what if he turns and shoots at me? And then it was a moment of, a pause where nothing was going on. So I kind of got up, looked around, and I didn't see the victim. I didn't see the other guy. I didn't hear any noises, so I looked around and didn't see anything. And I thought, oh my, he's on the ground. And that's when I looked over. I actually grabbed my phone to call 911. Looked around for that car. I didn't see it at first, but then I saw it back out. And that's when I called right off the bat 911. And the first thing they said is his license plate number. And I was like, well, what number's that? How dumb they are. It's like, get this number down. And then after that, and I stood there got out of my car, stood up, and saw the guy laying there, and I'm pretty sure the guy took off towards the freeway. And then a couple of guys came out of the restaurant. And I was talking on this ear, and they were talking to me, yelling at me and looking. And I was paying attention to the guy there to see if he's alive or not. And so I didn't follow the guy, but I'm pretty sure he went towards the exit to get on the freeway. And then I walked up to the guy, the victim, and trying to tell him, where I am and whatever. And I told the gal, I think I might have saw him go towards the freeway, because I know I kind of looked around and there was no cars, and I saw a white blur whip past on 106, so it might have been him. I'm not for certain, but with everything going on at the same time, I didn't get a good look. Okay. If it was him or not. And then you want me to go from there about calling 911 and what they told me to do and all that stuff, or probably doesn't really matter. But
actually, go ahead with the.
Okay, so I told him where I was and what had happened, and the guy's laying there on his back. He looked pale at that point. I knew obviously he had blood coming down here, and it didn't look very good. And I tried to look and see you know, is he alive or not? I didn't think he was. His pupils were, you know, fixed and they were dilated, and his eyes were half open, and he had blood coming out. I couldn't tell what the bullet wound was, and I thought he was dead right there, but then I saw steam coming out and little puffs, and he was gurgling like he was trying to get some air. And then I kept asking the guy, the 911 guy, should I turn him over? It feels like it sounds like he's trying to gasp for some air. And he kind of went and answered, well, you know, whatever. And then I said, he's still bleeding quite a bit. Well, where's the bullet hole? I couldn't tell. And finally got the other guy from the restaurant. He turned him over, went and got a rag to hold the blood, which I just still don't know at this point where it was coming from. And he turned him over, and I was there, so I was there. Basically, he put the cloth here because he thought maybe the bullet wound was in his neck. I don't know if it was or not. Turned him over, and you still see steam coming out, but it wasn't like puffs, and he wasn't trying to breathe like it was before. But then the blood obviously was just draining out of his nose or his mouth. I don't know. So I assume he probably was shot in the head somewhere. I think it might have been. I mean, he said the neck, but I think there's leaves and stuff there that I saw some stuff on the wall and towards the back of his head. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And that's when you guys came.
Okay. All right. So, how long do you think they were kind of arguing or talking before?
In front of my car, seconds.
Okay, so not a very long time.
It wasn't very long at all. I guess 10, 15 at the most.
Okay.
Because it happened quick. I mean, by the time he walked in front of my car and he walked in front of my car to the guy like he was courting him off, walked back this way and came back again, shot him. I mean, so it was that quick.
Okay. And so from the time that you got it there to the time that the gun came out and the shots were fired, how long do you think transpired?
Less than a minute. It was quick.
Less than a minute. Yeah. And you said that the words and stuff were kind of inaudible. Did it sound like they were speaking a foreign language, or were they? Or can you say?
I can't say, and because I kind of you kind of want to hear what are they arguing about.
Yeah.
And I tried to listen, and either they were so quiet I couldn't hear them, or they were in another language. But I know I heard the victim say no or shrug his shoulders like I don't know, whatever, once or twice.
Okay.
But I don't know if he said I don't know, or he just had to look in his face like, what do you want me to do type look.
Okay. And when you say that the suspect, he pulled out a gun from where you think maybe a pocket.
I think so.
Right hand.
Right hand.
Did he come out with just one hand? Did he come out two hands?
One hand.
One hand.
Yes.
Okay. And you heard the 2 shots, and then you ducked down.
I'm sure it was 2 shots, and I ducked down, and I thought I heard 1 or 2 more.
Okay, so a total of 4, maybe three to 4. 2.
I'm pretty sure 3 for sure, but maybe 4. Yeah, because it went boom, 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 real quick.
Okay. How large was the gun? Would you say?
We're talking here a second.
Is it like about this big, smaller, bigger? Do you think?
Can you hold it out so I can kind of see? Because I saw it like a face in the way or whatever. If you can't, that's fine. I mean.
Let me just.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Probably that's going to be face towards there because that's how I saw it.
Yeah.
Probably something like that.
About this size?
Yeah.
Okay. And the color on it?
It was black, but again, it didn't look as dark as black as yours. But it still was some black. I don't know if that was the light or the shadow or whatever, but it didn't seem quite as black as that. But again, it was a second that I saw it.
Yeah. So black, but maybe not quite real dark black.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't gray, but it didn't appear at that second I saw it that it was as black as what you had.
Okay. And did the suspect ever make eye contact with you, or do you think he was aware that you were even in the car?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I was worried that he did know I was there. I mean, he could have speculated that I just pulled up the car. I had just pulled up. Obviously, my car's pretty easy to see that he would have known I was there, but he didn't make eye contact with me. The suspect, or the victim, did.
Right. Okay. What did the victim look like?
was, again, I was sitting in my car, so he looked like he was probably shorter, maybe a little bit shorter than me. I don't know, I'm 5'9", so maybe he was 5'7", 6", or something like that. He looked, again, Slavic as well. He had like a roundish face, bigger nose, kind of bulgy blue eyes. He has just short, sandy brown hair. The suspect had darker hair. It wasn't pure brown. It looked like I might have had a little bit of gray in there or something. Not a lot, but maybe it's just a touch or something. I don't know how else to explain. He had a round face. He looked Eastern European to me.
Okay. Facial hair at all?
Nope.
Was he, after you got up and you looked around and you couldn't see either of the two, either the victim or the suspect, you exited your vehicle at that time?
Mm-hmm.
And then you found the victim, he was lying on his back?
Yes.
Okay. And which way was his head facing, remember?
His head, the victim's head was facing that way, which would have been north, or, towards the mall, towards the street. Not towards 106, that would be south.
So the head facing the mall?
Yeah.
Okay. And was he on the sidewalk or just on the parking lot, or?
No, he was laying there, next to the building where there's a little berm where there's trees and leaves and stuff.
Okay.
He was laying there in the dirt.
Okay.
Because it's the sidewalk and it's a little, the trees, little bushes, the dirt, and then it's the wall, so he's laying right there.
Okay. Now, you say he was like he was gasping for air?
It seemed like it.
Okay.
And I've never seen anybody die before,
Yeah.
so I don't know if it was just his reflex, but it seemed, again, his eyes, he was always laying, his skin looked pale, his eyes, one eye was covered in blood, and the other eye, well, it was this one, I guess, because I'm doing the mirror thing.
Yeah.
This eye was open, this eye had the blood, and it was coming, so I couldn't see this eye, but this eye I could see was, his lid was half closed, his eye was,
Kind of rolled back in his head?
a little bit, and then his pupil was huge, and it, he obviously wasn't there, conscious, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so at first I thought, oh, for sure he was dead, because I stood there looking for, movement in his chest, or didn't see anything, and it was a short period of time, and I heard him a couple times, quite a,
Mm-hmm.
it seemed like regularly, and I thought, oh, this guy might still be alive, barely.
Yeah. And so he wasn't able to speak or say anything?
No.
You didn't hear any words?
No.
Nothing like saying anything? And now let me just make sure. The suspect, you said, was between 6'2" and 6'3", you think?
Yeah, he seemed like he was taller than me. He was definitely taller than the victim.
Okay. Medium build, cylinder build, heavy build?
I wouldn't say he was heavy like he was fat, but he had a big jacket on, but the other guy, I'd say, the other guy I'd probably say he was medium. He was, a smaller guy, but he wasn't skinny by any means, so I'd say he was either medium to heavy because he had a big jacket on. That's all I saw. He was tall.
Okay.
He wasn't, that's my wife.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to her. I'll just,
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I know.
No, go ahead. I mean.
No, I don't want to sit and tell her it. I'll tell her when I'm done here.
Okay. Does she know you're here and
No.
know what's happened or
No.
anything?
That's my voicemail. So.
Okay. Are you sure you don't want to give her a quick call?
No, I don't, because
Okay.
I'll wait till it's
Okay.
later, because she'll want to go into all the gory details, but I just say, I'm at the cop's office, I saw somebody shot, I gotta go by, she'd freak out, so.
Okay, all right.
I'll tell her later.
Okay, so medium build, the hair you thought was black with
Yeah,
maybe touches of gray?
Yeah, I'd say, well, again, it wasn't jet black like an Italian, but it was more, I guess probably, probably was kind of like, there were touches of gray or blonde or something in there. It was kind of, trying to think, it was probably more black. Mine's brown, but it was more of a blackish with some gray or something in there.
Okay. And
the biggest thing I thought with him that was weird, that I looked at more so than his face, was his hair, because his hair seemed to be, how you look at some people and their hair just seems out of place, like, oh, they're wearing a wig. That's what it almost seemed like to me, because his hair was so thick and kind of on top of his head that it looked like it was like a helmet-wise, like a wig, and it was pulled back in a ponytail, because it was longer and it was in a ponytail. And I looked at that more in his face, because I didn't know what was going to go on, so I just looked at him going, oh, some dude wearing a wig, so I noticed that more.
so the longer then, pulled back in a ponytail?
Yeah.
How long do you think the ponytail was?
was pretty good length, so here, and it was tied back, so probably, you know, it was pretty good length, so I'm sure if it was down, it'd probably be down to here on him, because he had the ponytail here, and it kinda went, you know, stuck out quite a ways.
So 4 to 5.
I'm sorry. What is his name? Your name?
Him?
Yes.
Mr.
Lee.
Carlson, Lee Carlson.
Thank you. They called me from the same line that.
Oh, okay. Okay, so 4 to 5 inches maybe.
Yeah.
Pulled back. Could you tell? Was it a rubber band or was it? Did
Yeah,
you see what was holding
Yeah,
the
it looked-
ponytail?
Yeah, it looked like some kind of rubber band, or it was something brownish.
Brown.
I didn't pay particular attention to what it was, but it was something brown.
Okay. And how about his face? Was it round like the other guys? Was it more
It was more
elongated?
longer, not long like mine, but it seemed to me, again, I only saw a glimpse of it as he, you know, he went this way and turned back and kinda cornered the guy off. And I looked at his hair, as he came this way, I didn't see him at all, cause I wasn't paying attention, I thought they were just, you know, and he saw him come this way and turn around real quick. Again, he had, you know, as far as I can remember, he had a longer nose. You know, I can tell eye color, but his eyes seem to be more bulgy, like the other guys. I should have paid more attention, I can't remember, and part of me says, oh, maybe he had a mustache, but then part of me's like, I don't know, you know, for sure, but.
Yeah, well, that's, you just see him in a glimpse.
Yeah.
And I know we're kinda asking a lot.
Yeah.
Going back to the hair real quick, did it look like it had all been pulled back
Yes.
or was it just long in the back?
It was like it could have been pulled on his shoulders, and he just, you know, pulled it all
Okay,
back.
so long all over, then
Yes.
pulled back into a
Yes.
ponytail. Okay. And the nose was longer nose,
Mhm.
pointed,
Yeah,
pudgy, big on his face, or kinda narrow and long?
kind of, I mean, again, I saw it kind of from the side, so it's kind of narrow and long, as far as I can tell, it's narrow and long, almost like the other guys.
Kinda pointy.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not sure about the facial hair, whether
Yeah,
or
I'm
not, okay.
Certain, again, part of me, I think when I saw him flip around, he had a mustache, but I don't know if I'm making that up, if I actually saw that.
Okay.
It was so vague that
So possible
Yeah,
mustache.
and if I remember, what I think I remember was more of a, you know, my mind's kinda thin, his was more of a thicker one, if I'm not making it up, I'm thinking I saw that, but.
Okay.
It's like the white flash of the car, I don't know if it was his or not, but I remember seeing a white going by, so.
Okay. Chin, remember anything about the chin? Did it jut out, a hard chin? Anything?
I don't remember anything about the chin, I guess I remember more so about his cheeks seemed to be more, cheekbones seemed to be out more, but I didn't really notice anything about his chin, cause I kinda glanced from real quick from his face up to his hair going, wow. You know?
Okay. Remember anything about the eyebrows? Bushy, thin?
I don't remember very much about that, you know, they weren't big and bushy that I remember them, so I assume they probably were just normal.
So the jacket was a light brown or a tan, you said?
Yeah.
And you think it was a suede?
Suede-ish looking, yeah.
And it was, you described it as beat up?
Yeah, it wasn't a brand new one you see at a fancy store, it was one that.
Well worn, or was it?
Well worn, yeah.
Holes, did you see?
I didn't see any holes that I noticed, but I could just by looking at it, you could tell it wasn't
It's
a brand fancy new one, it was like one you might have had for a few years and looked worn, I mean, it wasn't obviously a fancy one, it was.
And then the faded black or gray jeans?
Pants, I
Or
don't know for
pants,
sure they were
okay.
jeans, but. Yeah, I guess that guy, the suspect didn't really face me. The victim, you know, of course I got looks at him afterwards, but the victim was facing me
More,
almost the whole time.
so this was like directly in front of your
Yes,
car?
directly in front of
So
my
the
car.
suspect would be on the driver's side tire, kind of?
Yes.
Victim with his back to you, victim facing you? Okay.
Like you, if you're the victim, the car's like this, I guess I'm sitting in my car, and you're there, and they came up around like this, and again, I wasn't paying much attention at first, but they were arguing, and they came, and you're the victim, you kinda went up against the wall right away, you looked at me as the guy was coming,
Mm-hmm.
and then the suspect kinda went like this, kind of the corner him off, and then he went like this again, and then that's when he pulled it out.
Okay.
So I mean, the suspect barely turned. You know, when he first came, I didn't notice, other than as I remember him walking this way, seeing his hair, not really seeing his face, but seeing his hair, and that's odd. Then thinking, oh my gosh, they're arguing. They might get into a fight or whatever, and then I kept looking at the suspect, who kind of looked at me a couple times, and you know, and then at that point he pulled it out, boom, boom, well, boom, and twice, and then I went down.
Yeah. Okay. So they came from the passenger side of the vehicle.
Yes.
And then came around the front.
Yes.
And then after the shots were fired, do you remember seeing where the white car was in the parking lot in relation to your car?
Yeah, it was. I don't know if you were there when I said or not. So I was there, and it was the row behind me, and there's a street light there. So it was either the one, I didn't pay particular attention to it. It was either the stall right underneath it, or it was one over, and he backed out. Because when I saw it, first I looked up, I didn't see it. I thought he would have been running and pulled out by that time. It seemed like a long time. Maybe it's just because it was all happening so fast. But he pulled out, and that's when I looked over in my rear window and saw his back end coming out of the Navigator, and then the license plate right there. And then that's when I repeated to myself as I was waiting for 911 to pick up the phone.
Okay. And then let's see.
Here's his statement if you'd like.
If you can read it. My writing has always been horrible, so.
You and me both, Lee.
Yeah, A's in school and then D's in handwriting, so. Yeah, I could try to read it back.
No, I can read it just fine.
Wow, okay.
I tell you, I suffer from the same affliction. I have terrible handwriting, so it allows me to read other people's handwriting.
I can type it, whatever.
How much time do you think elapsed between the first two shots and then you ducked down and the time that you got back up and saw the car leaving?
So from the time I heard the shots, I ducked, got up, and wasn't very long because he got out of there as soon as it happened. So I'm guessing 10 seconds or something.
Okay.
Because he basically shot him, and the 3-4 shots, it was silent for a little bit. I looked up, didn't see anything, because as soon as it happened, I was down like this, and then I just went like, reached for my phone, and then sat up. Didn't see him anywhere. Dialed 911. Go up to my, and I expected them to answer right away. Of course, you couldn't anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Then it rings a couple times, and some dude answered, and then that time that I saw him back out, and I said to myself, 964 NGJ, and then finally, then he pulled forward, and finally the guy answered. And I said, he said, 911. I said, 964. I think that's what I said very first, or one of the first things. I said, what's that? He said, that's the number of license plate, somebody's been shot. Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Do you think, judging from time, you think there was enough time for the suspect to shoot him and get anything off of the victim's person? Steal his wallet, keys, cell phone or anything?
I get, if he knew where to look, there's possible.
Okay.
That's possible. I mean, it seemed like it happened. She called me again.
Call from the net, Carlson. Unload.
She went, why are you changing your phone?